Rescue by Tone Empire is a channel strip plugin. The selling point and the reason you might want to check it out is having 4 different preamp models in one plugin and having a 4-band EQ which interacts with these preamps in a musical way. The preamp models are API, Neve and triode and pentode tube. That is a wide range that basically could cover all your preamp needs. The difference between the 4 models, by default, is in both harmonics and default EQ curves. You can even bypass this entire preamp section, but I think you never ever want to do that because these preamps sound really good. Here is how these preamps sound on an acoustic guitar, starting with the API and Neve models. The first thing you should notice is that the clean audio track is more dynamic in a not good way, it's more jumpy. Both Neve and API models have slightly reduced dynamics and the overall sound is more evened out. On top of that, with these settings, the Neve sounds even more constant with a solid low and low mid range. And the API has a nicer higher mid range sheen to it. Exactly what you expect from a Neve and API preamp. Here's how the triode and pentode sound. The clean acoustic guitar sounds, in comparison with the preamps, more lifeless and boring. These preamps really do add something really good. These preamp models and their sound do affect the entire audio track and their dynamics, and this is something you will notice during mixing. For instance, on this snare I'd happily use the API model and do other processing after rescue. But with the Neve model I might want to use a gate before rescue, because with more drive these hi-hats come more to the front. This could also mean that you don't need a hi-hat mic and simply use the drive for more hi-hat in the snare track. Mixed choices, always good to have. Now the drive has a form of auto gain. Usually when you turn up the drive, the overall level will increase as well. But on rescue, you hear that overall gain stays pretty even and drops back, but you keep the drive you want. This is a nice touch. In the drive section you get smooth high and low pass filters. And again, you can bypass them. The EQ of rescue by itself is very much clean and more of a sculpting type of EQ. Not extremely surgical. You get 4 bands which are a high and low shelf and 2 mid-band bell type EQs with a variable Q. Every band can be bypassed for quick A/Bing. This EQ sounds smooth, but the frequency choices you get mean that when you work with a smaller Q, it's more like hit or miss to find the right frequencies. With, for instance, drum, I prefer to have something in the 350 to 450 range to cut out boxiness. But on this EQ I have 250 and 500 Hz here. That said, when you use broader widths, this EQ is perfect for tonal shaping, and I think that is how you should use this EQ in the first place. You can use this EQ by itself without the preamp section. Could argue if this clean EQ couldn't be replaced by any other clean EQ plugin. Well, yeah, maybe, but you won't have the interaction with the drive, which makes this entire plugin very organic and musical to use. And I would never not don't use the preamp section of this plugin ever. CPU light it is not. On both PC and Mac in Cubase with VST3 I had around 25% usage on my performance meter. Loading in new instances added only a few percentages though. Don't know what is happening here, but I really do hope this can be lowered quite a bit. The sound of this plugin is very good, and this is also partially due to how aliasing free this plugin is. Nice job here. In the days I spent with Rescue, I really enjoyed mixing with it. Most of the time as one of the first plugins in my plugin chain. This plugin will absolutely give you a good starting point in any mix, and the intro price is a steal.